Welcome to First Things First. I'm Brooke Blurton. My pronouns are she and her.
I'm Matty Mills. My pronouns are he and him. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record. And for me today, it's the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation.
And for me, it's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Let's get into it. Today, we've got some superstars.
Some very special guests.
Yes. We've got Paul Versace.
Well, we've got Billy from Made in Bondi.
Hello.
I mean, you're so much more than Billy from Made in Bondi, and we're going to get to that.
I'm so multifaceted.
But we're super excited to have you both on First Things First. Obviously, Brooke and Paul are in Melbourne. Billy and I are in Sydney. But this show that you're currently on is all about Bondi. Obviously, it's a take on, Made in Chelsea, which is from the UK. Had you seen that show before, Billy?
Yes, I had. So I actually went to uni in London. And as I was living there, season 1 came out.
Okay.
And I was in love. I'm a reality television connoisseur. I love it all. So yes, big Chelsea fan from way back.
Billy,
And what about you, Paul?
I actually hadn't seen it, so I remember when they reached out, I was really excited, but I didn't actually
Watch the show.
What the hell, Paul?
Did you go back and watch it or no?
I knew about the show, but I just never seen it.
Yeah.
And then as we started filming, I was like, oh, I think I better actually watch this show to kind of see what I was like
Walking
in store
into.
for. But
Yeah.
I never watched Made in Chelsea Sydney, though, with Isabella. Did you, Paul?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't even know they were in Sydney, but then they were.
Ooh, so they did like a trip?
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
an offshore season. So we should probably go back and watch that one.
Also, like a Kim and Courtney Take Miami.
Yes, exactly that.
Okay. I've heard some controversial things, right?
Oh,
And,
yeah?
Well, I reckon we just dive straight into it.
Yeah.
So what I heard is the show Made in Bondi wasn't even filmed in Bondi.
So this is my least favourite criticism. It was, I swear. There was an article in the Daily Telegraph called Made in Brighton Le Sands. I was like, it's funny, I love that. But I never personally ever filmed in Brighton Le Sands. I'm sure it's lovely there.
Have you ever been to Brighton Le Sands?
No.
It's a very different place to Bondi. Let me tell you, if you go there after dark, it's even more different than Bondi.
I've driven through it to go to Cogra because I had a client in Cogra.
Yeah.
And it looks lovely. It's where all the jet skis are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, stunning.
Paul, did you film in Brighton Le Sands or no?
Everyone keeps asking us, you guys didn't film in Bondi, it's not in Bondi, but I think what people forget is it's a show not just about Bondi. Like, they use Bondi because it's such an iconic and like worldwide, like, Bondi, like you do know Sydney, but Bondi is like, it's like Chelsea, like it's not made in the UK.
Yeah.
It's made in Chelsea. So I think everyone that's like, oh my God, you guys they aren't allowed to film in Bondi. The first scene for me with Emma where we're out for drinks and I say I'm ready to find a husband, that was in Bondi.
Yeah, wow. Because it's like pretty much like selling a location, right? Because like Made in Chelsea is about like selling a lifestyle in Chelsea. And then I guess like Made in Bondi is about sort of like not selling a lifestyle, but you know what I mean? Like people in London will probably watch the Made in Bondi one and be like, fuck, I want to live like on the beaches. Like this looks stunning.
Like, it's shot so beautifully and like
It is.
we both live in Sydney and like the way they've shot it, you're like, fuck, we live here. Like this is so cool.
So sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think Made in Bondi was like, it was named for a British audience as well.
Totally.
Like named in Vaucluse doesn't hit with the international audience.
Absolutely. Well, when I first heard the name Made in Bondi, I thought it was about people who grew up and were born on the eastern suburbs and maybe grew up in Bondi because
Same.
of the title of the show. But did you grow up in Bondi? I want to know
No,
where you guys
babes.
come from. What is your background and why are you so connected to Bondi?
I've been dragged for this since day one because I'm from Perth.
A long
I
way
am-
away from Bondi.
Yeah, and then I did uni in London, lived in Melbourne for 5 years. Now I'm in Sydney. But I feel like that is Bondi. Like no one in Bondi is from Bondi. It's such a transient place. It's like backpackers, people that have come from all over. So that kind of describes Bondi to me.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
absolutely not. I was not conceived in Bondi, made in Perth.
Made in Perth, same.
What about you, Paul?
I was born in Melbourne. I only recently moved to Sydney in March, actually. So I'm a new Sydney. But
She's fresh.
She's fresh.
But you're like, from what I know of your like lifestyle and from your work is that you're in Sydney like every week.
Well, like I remember when we would like work together or just be in Melbourne, I'd always be back and forth flying. So
all the
like,
time.
The move was always there, and then it just kind of all fell into place, and it all just felt right, I guess.
Yeah.
And now I'm a Sydney boy.
I know.
Are you enjoying your time in Sydney?
I am. I love it. I'm in Surrey Hills, so not Bondi either. But
See, Made in Surrey Hills doesn't hit.
Made in
Made in Slurry Hills here.
Much better.
That's the knockoff.
Well,
Invite us now.
I want to ask how it all came about. Look, there are so many different people on this show. I'm not going to say it is the show that casted
how many cast members are
diversely. But what I will say is that there's a lot of different people on this show. How did you guys get cast, and did you know each other before?
So they approached me last year to kind of there was this new show that was coming around, and they really wanted me to be on it. So we started the process, and then I got cast. Me and Emma Peels, who's on the show, we were friends before the show, and they cast us both. The way the kind of Made in Bondi and Made in Chelsea works is there's all different friendship groups, and how it starts, and then we all kind of meet each other and then become one big group. And then I'd got cast, and then I really wanted another friend kind of to come along for that journey with me, and I didn't want to be the only kind of
Queer gay
on the
person.
show.
Yeah.
He needed homosexual energy.
Yeah.
I certainly bring that.
But, and I think as well, like, there's so many shows that just have that one queer or that one gay guy or that one lesbian, and it's just like, it's not, I didn't want that for this show.
Yeah,
So
and you have to really like amplify yourself as well, like when you are that one person, which is so frustrating.
And Sydney, like, it's so diverse and there's so much going on in Sydney. So I put Billy forward, and then Billy was cast, and Billy, a star was born.
Well,
Amen.
let me just say, before the show, you were absolutely a star, because obviously you have your own PR company.
Yeah.
You've worked with really high profile people. What was it about the show that why you wanted to be part of it?
So, as Paul said, I wasn't an original cast member. I came like months later as like friend of, like I was Kathy Hilton. And the way that it started was very much my work was involved. So that's how Paul and I know each other. We work together a lot. So it was, for me, it was a really good opportunity to talk about my business on an international platform.
Yeah.
My business is only 2 years old, so I was like, this is great. Plus, I love reality TV, and the idea of going to brunch with a camera, I was like, I need that. So there was some work stuff involved. I thought it would be great to push my work, but also
just fun.
Fabulousness.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think we both said, I think it was halfway through filming, we were like, this is so crazy that this is what we're doing right now. I think even if the show didn't go to air or didn't have any success, like for us, it was just like, this is such a great experience.
Fun, yeah.
It was fun. And there was some really hard bits too where we were both like whinging. And I'm like, oh no, I need to be grateful because this is so amazing. But it was hard work. Like both of us running our businesses as well as dedicating a full day to having coffee and talking.
Yeah, you're like,
what does the day of filming look like?
They were long days because obviously it's shot so beautifully, so everything's very considered. So yeah, very long hours.
It's based on our lives. So like, just say there's 1 week where Billy might be hosting his birthday for his business, then obviously the lead up to that, he'll have a lot more filming days. And then if, say, there's a big drama scene or there's a champagne thrown, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we need to have like a follow-up, because how Made in Chelsea and Made in Bondi work, there's a lot of like breakfasts and dinners and catch-ups where like you debrief about, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And it kind of gives you depth into our characters as well. Yeah.
Was there any controversy with the cast? Like, were there any big fights that happened that were either exaggerated for the cameras or were they real? Like, what's the goss behind some of the tougher moments?
There was definitely lots of controversial moments. I feel like I didn't get involved too much with that. Some people willing to do anything for 5 seconds more airtime. Me, not so much. And Paul had his own little moment of controversy, which we just saw in episode 9.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which was fabulous. And I
What
loved
was
every
that?
second of
Oh
it.
no.
I kind of broke up with the Jacob who I was seeing on the show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so I broke up with him and he didn't take it too well. But as you can, as you know, Brooke, with editing, there's so much that actually happens in that scene, and you get like 3 minutes of it. So, that was probably like my most intense drama. But
Yeah. Because you guys wouldn't have seen like the edits, right? No. You would have filmed it and had a vision or like an idea of what happened and how it went down, but then the show could be like, oh yeah, no, that's not how it went down, and changed so much. Especially when it comes to like drama, because like people's reactions, I think that's where they get you, is like, oh, but they didn't actually react like that. Like, yeah, they were reacting to that way to something else, but it wasn't exactly what I was, you know what I mean?
Well,
like they change and swap
definitely.
things all the time.
Well, I remember after I told Jacob that he wasn't the one for me, I remember I saw Billy that night and I was like, what the fuck was that? Like he just, but on to bigger and better things, I'd say.
Yeah.
So I was there for that when that was filmed. And
I
I was
have to repeat anything?
Yeah,
do they say, can you break up with him 3 or 4 times just for the extra shot?
Sometimes we had to like condense things down. Like if we'd waffled on, they're like, okay, that's
way too long.
soundbite. Yeah. But yeah, they shooed me. Well, Paul shooed me away when they were breaking up. Like I was gonna stand there and like be the. I loved interfering with their relationship, and then I was trying to listen at the door when they were breaking up, but the producers chased me away, so I didn't get to watch it live until when it aired.
Yeah.
Well, you would have seen Brooke break up with a lot of people on The Bachelorette.
I did.
So did you have that in the back of your mind of like, okay, well, I'm doing exactly what I've seen happen on reality TV before.
Stop.
And you understanding that there's going to be an edit, so you're choosing your words wisely?
Well, for me, it was that I went on one date with Jacob. So like, and for me, I was just like, this is going to be really seamless. Like, it is what it is. Not everything always works out. And and it is that case of, I've met someone else and he's my person, and unfortunately it doesn't.
Brown. You don't get the last rose.
No, but I'm fuming because I set Paul and Jacob up.
Okay.
I'm like, the least you could do is get married.
Jacob? Can I see, what's his last name?
Jacob Fair. I think you know him. He's got long hair, curly hair.
And what does he do?
He works with me.
Okay,
He works for Edwards & Co., which is one of my clients. So him and I have worked together in an office for like 5 years. So I was like, get married at least.
That's kind of cute, but also kind of
Googling.
sad.
Throughout the whole season, Billy and Emma meddle in my love life, which is
Metal.
Well, on the first episode, Billy's got me on the edge of a cliff screaming to get all my,
I did watch
inner
that.
demons out. But yeah, no, I'm very happy in a relationship now. So
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It all works out.
everything.
So Jacob was having drinks in Surrey Hills and Paul walked by holding hands with the new one. And Jacob saw. I'm like, that's so good. But that wasn't on the show. But I'm like, the real life drama is juicier than the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would have been such a good moment to capture.
It was. Paul's going to yell at me later.
Well, Paul, I always thought that you were like more shy and more like of an introvert. But to go on a show like this, you have to be out there. You have to be like a bit of an extrovert, don't you? So how has it been for you to be more extroverted?
For me, I've obviously being a stylist. I've always been the guy behind the scenes, and then as of recent years, I think that's kind of shifted a little bit too, and it's been styling, but then also Paul Versace as me, and like kind of getting in front of the camera has kind of kept growing. And then I remember when the show came about, I was like, you know what, this is something that I feel like is part of where I should be going. And like, I like that it was an experience that I just never thought I'd do. But and even after doing the show, I see it in myself. I'm like, whoa, I'm so much more like now when it's a piece to camera. I just had the Brownlow this whole week in Melbourne, and doing interviews and stuff, you're just so much more like, okay, like let's practice, and like just getting comfortable with being like
On camera.
on camera, I think, and like not being so critical of being and like watching back and being like, oh, I remember when me and Billy watched the first episode back, Billy was spiraling for about a week.
Oh no!
Just because his skin tone changed in every scene.
You know what? You know what?
For me too.
Yeah, when they grade and they grade for a certain skin type, gee, all the rest of us just get fucking. I go red.
We go red. I go orange. I go brown. I go blue.
And it was really warm, and I felt like my teeth looked yellow.
Oh,
because the warmth was really far up. I was devastated.
I think definitely using the same fake tan throughout the season is a tip. But hey, Billy.
Shut up, Paul.
So when you were spiraling and when you first, because it's
shouldn't.
probably your first time seeing yourself in that light, like what goes through your head?
Oh.
Are you like, is that what I really look like?
Yes, very much so. Because, like, you know, when you hear your voice back,
Yeah.
like seeing your voice and hearing your voice and seeing your face talking was so confronting because I like don't see that ever.
Totally.
I haven't done any camera work before, so I was like, is that what I look like? Surely that's not what I look like. But I had to keep reminding myself, like, that's what people have seen me as all along.
Yeah.
I only see the like curated Instagram Billy face.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a shock no matter how long you've been in the business. When you see yourself on TV, you still get that little moment of like, oh, I thought I was so much prettier than that. I've been catfishing myself for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just seeing every angle of yourself as well. And you're like, oh,
It's not fun.
especially-
Guys, I had my own fucking TV show. It's not fun.
Yeah.
So is it true that you're the only cast member that did an audition?
I think so.
I didn't
Well, I don't
audition.
know if they auditioned, but like
You do,
had
like, an
a
interview.
casting process. But yeah, because I was a friend of,
That's
and then
right.
came
They just
later,
brought you
mine
in.
was different. Yeah,
I feel like most of the cast, well, I can't speak for everyone, but I think a lot of the cast were kind of, it was like, we really want that person. And then they would figure out like the ties. So like everyone's always like, it's all fake. Like Lawson was never with Molly. That was all produced, but they actually did sleep together. And then that's how their characters kind of joined on the
Evolved.
show. It wasn't like the
Yeah.
producer was like, Lawson, you're cast. Go sleep with Molly.
Yeah.
It actually
we want her
happened.
on the show, and it was like even with me and Billy, it wasn't like, all right, we need another queer. Hey, Billy, come. Like it was like we were actually friends. So
Yeah.
So they're
there's-
finding the linkages
Yeah.
and then sort of producing from there.
and even like with Bella and Lawson, the biggest question I even got it yesterday in the foyer at Crown. It's like, oh my god, are Bella and Lawson actually together? But like that's a real relationship. But the way it's filmed and that's not a fake. Would you agree, Billy?
yeah, completely. Like all the relationships and the dynamics are natural, but sometimes it comes across unnatural when you're doing it in front of a camera.
Totally.
Yeah, especially
Do you-
if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a producer in your ear going, I would like you to say this just to put some tension in there or to make something a little bit worse than it possibly is in real life?
Not so much like I would like you to say this, but they would be like, have you considered this? And
Yeah.
like plant a thought in your head.
Okay.
And you're like, no, I hadn't. But now
That's
I
a
have.
great point, and I'm going to fucking tell them.
Yeah, yeah.
Brooke, is this bringing back memories for you?
Yeah, it's like PTSD. I'm
I've
sitting
never
here
done
rocking.
reality TV. Oh, gosh, I don't think I'd be good
Please
at it.
don't. It's fun, and I'm sure you guys had such an amazing experience. But I think when you're like the one person, it's not fun. And I feel
Yeah.
like Paul's probably been in a similar situation where it's like so focused on your dating life in this experience, where it was so focused on mine, and it's like so hard when you have so many voices like coming at
But
you.
it's also like my like line in all the press is Paul is not going to stop until he finds a husband. It's like I have been dating. Like this isn't my first time, but
Not your first rodeo.
but for a show, it's like I'm this hopeless romantic. Who,
That's your character.
That's my like character who's just like trying to find a husband, but like yeah.
Yeah.
So that stuff's always confronting too because you're like, wait, am I this guy? And then you tell
You're
your
so
fri-
much more than that.
and then-
Yeah.
and then you tell your friends, and they're like, Paul, you do want to find something.
My line was that I'm righteous and obsessed with Botox. I'm like, oh, okay. Way to give me some depth.
Yeah, that's annoying. So, okay, where to from now? Like, are you guys, is there another season going to be coming or is it?
It just dropped in the UK on Channel 4 last night.
This morning.
This morning,
Oh,
Yeah, it was
congrats.
last night, but this morning in real time, you know,
Okay.
because of the time
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
The exciting thing is not knowing kind of where the show could go. I think like and having such a big following base in the UK. I think it was, as we said, it was made for the UK. their audience. So like it's just another dose of reality and with a whole new set of faces, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think season 2 would be dependent on the reception in the UK.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would do it. Would you do it, Paul?
100%. Like I want to see where Billy's love story goes.
And
toilet.
what is the commitment in terms of timing to film a show like this? Is it 10 weeks? Is it 12 weeks?
I think it was longer than that.
It's like 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it was a long time.
Because it's like
Sporadic. Yeah.
yeah, and it's
When
not
moments
like
are happening.
yeah, and it's not like
Yep.
5 days a week for 3 months. Like there'd be a week where I might film once.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do it. I loved it. Like when you look back on it, and like there were some funny moments, like Billy
Yeah.
driving his Vespa to scenes, and like
Would you both do anything different?
100%. Like you watch it back, don't you reckon, Billy? And you're like,
Yeah,
"Ooh."
so many things.
There's like because you're so guarded, not guarded, but like you're just very like conscious about what you say, or like I don't want to get the villain at it, but like the thing is, the way the show is, it's not really that kind of show where it's like we hate that person. They like want you to love all the characters, but then also it's that love hate between the characters. Like, oh my god, I hate Bella this week, but then I love her next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to accept, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like there's some things you have to do and say
Yeah.
part of the show, but
Yeah.
you realize your real thoughts. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get that.
I was a bit guarded myself. Like, I didn't really talk about my personal life all that much. I just got heavily involved with everyone else's. So I think I'd be comfortable to be a bit more open about myself in season 2 because I now trust the process. Like, we're
Yeah.
not looking to exploit anyone.
Yeah. Do you know who I think would be hilarious? Your friend James.
Shoulder?
James Vivian.
Oh, James Vivian. Yeah,
Wouldn't
he would be hilarious.
His personality would be made for this.
He needs like to host something. He's
Something.
just so funny.
So funny.
I got Lucinda from Maps
Yeah.
to start going and seeing
Oh
him
my
as
God,
a
I
client.
love
And the two of them.
Those two, they're two peas in a pod. I only met
Exactly.
him once when we were at Wolf Award, but
Oh, yes.
you know, it was just like, yeah, he would be so funny on this show. But I know that we're all big fans of reality TV. I'm a big fan of the Real Housewives, and Brooke and I were talking about if we had to have a tagline, and if there were taglines for this show, what would they be? Have you thought about your Real Housewife tagline? And if it was for Made in Bondi, what would it be?
Oh, God. I have some that are so inappropriate. Unlike my credit card, I have no limits. No, the other way around. Wait, do you want a limitless credit card?
Yeah.
Just like my credit card, I have no limits.
Yes.
What's yours, Paul? What do you say?
no, I haven't actually.
Thought about it. Yeah.
I dress a lot of people, but you can undress me. Oh, that's you know. I mean,
Oh my God, do you guys want to hear the funniest story of how Paul and I actually met?
Yeah.
tell us.
So funny. I'd followed Paul for a while with his styling, and I was like, oh, he'll never style me. And then I got casted for the Bachelorette, and they were like, yeah. And I thought, fuck, if I want this show to be like the best it's going to ever be, I'm going to have to bring in the troops. Like,
Well, let me tell you something. When I met Billy called you the fashion Bachelorette, and that was
I
the
did.
quote that came
thank
out of his mouth.
you. Yeah, well, thanks to Paul.
Billy.
Yeah. Because
I didn't know this connection. You styled Brooke the whole season
a whole season, baby.
in the Yusuf Akbar
Yeah.
black dress
Yeah.
that Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman wore on the cover of Marie Claire.
Yeah. All of
Iconic
it.
moment.
Yeah, thank you. Well, because I watched previous seasons, obviously been on The Bachelor in 2018, so I was like, I had a really shitty experience getting dressed. So I'm so envious, like, you guys get to wear whatever the fuck you want to wear, and it's you. Like, in my first season, it was just shit. Anyways, I thought, fuck, I'm going to bring in the troops. So I messaged Paul asking if he would style me. And in that moment of like messaging him, I accidentally sent him a photo, and it was of my tits.
Oh,
And I was like, oh my God, I can't even unsend it. I'm so sorry. And it was an accident because I was just like laying down, like texting
Classy.
him. And I accidentally sent him a photo of my tits. And I was like, oh, well,
it was like we can do some things with those.
And you've worked together ever since.
we went together ever since. Yeah.
I remember I was driving and I just pulled over.
Yeah.
And just Brooke did send me a tip. I'm like, who is this girl? What's going on?
Is Brooke the only girl to ever send you a tit pic?
No.
He's seen a lot of tits, I'm sure, in his life. But people don't know this. I actually paid Paul out of my own money. Like, The Bachelorette, the Channel 10 or Warner Brothers didn't actually
for
like
a
fund
stylist.
it. They had a stylist, and I was like, nah.
This has blown my mind that I didn't know this
Yeah.
because I have
Yeah.
always called you the fashion bachelorette. I didn't know
Yes.
that Paul styled you for that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I'm so glad because we had so much fun. And you know what? Having Paul, which is kind of like an outside person throughout my season, sort of pulled me out of the experience so often. And, you know, you made it so fun. Like me, you can remember my producer, you, and myself just like giggling all the fucking time. And like every time I'd come home from a date, Paul would be like, did you fuck them? Did you kiss? Did you fuck? Did you kiss? I'm like, you can't kiss or fuck on this show, man.
You can kiss? Are you joking?
Yeah, you can kiss, but he was like, did you kiss
You had
with
the
tongue?
longest kiss on air. It was like a world record.
Wait,
That was oh yeah, no, that was,
wait,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure you kissed at the first dinner party.
I did kiss. Yeah, it was so fucking funny. He was the
Those
best.
are the questions
but-
I asked Paul after every single date he did in Made in
Yeah.
Bondi.
Did you kiss? Did you fuck?
Well, next season, you know, you have a partner, Paul. Like, you considering like that being part of your storyline for next season?
Like we've spoken about it.
Yeah,
I think doing a reality.
I've approved it. It's happening.
I approve.
Love it.
I think though, just making sure it's right for us, and as you know, like reality TV can be a bit of a pressure cooker, like because it is supposed to be drama and you want to get invested. But I think they would love to see us on the show.
Yeah.
So
We've got fans now.
I've got fans.
We
now.
got fans.
Do you get stopped in the street? Have you been stopped yet?
I actually have, which is really crazy. Like I never thought that would happen.
Yeah, wow.
And I get every now and then someone, oh my God, I love what you do. I love Style by Bloom. And I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Thank you so
that's
much.
lovely.
And then yesterday for the Brownlow, this girl came up to me. I'm thinking that she was going to be excited about the Brownlow looks. And this like, and her mum's like, I love you on Bondi. And I'm like,
That's so
Wow,
cute.
you're getting that's so cool.
When I was
cool.
voting, like the Greens gays were like, oh my God, are you Billy from Made in Bondi? In front of Clover Moore. And I was like,
Yes,
yes,
I
I am. And then I had like a work event and this woman was like, oh, I've got a gay son. Can I have a photo with you? And I was
that's
like, I love that
funny.
you have a gay son.
That's beautiful. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, this has been so much fun. I'm now going to go and watch the rest of the show because
Same.
I want all the goss.
Send me your
And
notes.
Yes, I'm like, okay, now I'm keen because you know when you get insight and you're like, okay, I know what's happened, and you don't have to be like
Yeah.
guessing. I love that.
Me and Maddie also made a joke because we're not made from Bondi. We're always like, maybe we should have a blackfella version where it's like made in Carnarvon.
Yes.
Made in Tamworth.
And it's just like, oh, it would just be hilarious. Like,
Can you have Paul and I on as friends of?
yeah, of course.
Thank you.
The drama would be
fucking
real.
hilarious.
The drama would be spicy. Oh,
What
thank
would
you
Made in Carnarvon be though?
just
'cause
people
that is a
smashing
place
out on the
famous
road.
for bananas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it would just be so ghetto. I love it. No, it would be like, I don't know, family drama, produce, lots of like thrown fruit. It would just be,
Thrown
I don't think it
fruit.
would exceed anyone's expectations, like bloody your show. So mine
Yeah, I
would
don't think
be,
it'd be getting a season
For
2.
my opening scene, I want like a banana Carmen Miranda hat styled by Bloom.
Is
Well,
there
that's-
anything you guys want to share? Anything, or you're good?
no, I'm like, thank you for having us. It's our first kind of radio interview. Was it radio?
fun.
Yeah.
Podcast interview together. So, just hopefully you guys can watch the rest of the show.
Yeah, I want to
Yes,
see.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah, I need
I'm
something
keen.
to binge, so thank you. And thank you so much for coming on, both Billy and Paul. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime. Come back next season.
You better believe we will.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for listening to First Things First. If you love what you hear, leave us a little rating and a little review.
And if you want us to cover anything on the pod, reach out via our socials. My handle's at Brooke.Blurton and Maddie's is at It's Maddie Mills. And you can follow Paul at...
_ Paul Versace or all things fashion at Style by Bloom.
And Billy, where can they find you?
Billy _ Daniels or all things PR. Billy ETC.
I love that. And for the show, where are we watching it? What streaming service?
It's on Channel 7. I think we're up to episode 5 on Channel 7, 9 p.m.
Six.
Tuesdays.
And that'll be 7
Six.
plus.
And then, I think the finale comes out this week on 7 plus.
You. There you go.
So you can binge everything this week.
Oh, I love a binge.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.